they complement each other in a way, but also like for example, if we're both the shouty kind, it's a shouting match, right? Or if we're both the holding in type, it's just gonna burst one day. I guess it's a good thing that it's different.
It can be.
Yeah, it's like it's not even about like despite the differences. It's like it works because of the
differences. Yeah.
Hello, welcome to another episode of With Tulua. In this one, I have a conversation with Brenda and Btara, who have been married for a couple of months now. I have actually known them for a few years, but have never actually sat with them to hear about their story from when they met, how they decided to get married, and what marriage has been like. So I'm excited to have you join me along with this conversation to hear how God brought them together and has been sustaining their marriage so far. I hope you will be blessed by it like I was. So, Btara and Brenda, how long have you been married for?
10 months. Almost a year.
10 months. Wow, that is wow. How's it been the past 1 year?
It's good. Lots of challenges though.
Yeah, it's been fine, it's been fun. It's been interesting, I guess, to see how we are different. And there are a lot of differences. Plenty of differences. Especially the day to day. But yeah, it's been good, obviously. There's been like fights, normal, but yeah, we've so far cruised through them, relatively smoothly. A bit rocky.
We're very different people, that's why.
Yeah, we're very different people.
Feel like there were differences that came up after you got married that you didn't notice?
No, we knew we're very different people. Yeah. We have different likes and dislikes. We have a lot of differences basically. We're very opposite.
We're very opposite. Like even at home, like how we do things or how we like to prioritize things are like also very different. Like some differences are, it helps. Like, oh, okay, you do that, and I'll do
chores.
This.
Chores wise, it's great because it's really good because you do the ones I don't like.
I'm fine.
I do the ones he doesn't like.
But there's some other places where it's like more tension.
Yeah. Probably like, not tension, but eating schedule. That one, it got to the point where it feels like we're roommates instead of married. Yeah, we don't eat at the same time.
I try when I'm there.
Wait, what's your eating schedule?
I can eat as late as a normal late is like 8 p.m. I can go to 9 or 10, and then like that's my dinner.
Wow.
But lunch I eat at the office for the most part, so I'm not here lunch usually. So yeah, my family's just used to doing it. Like the earliest we'll eat is at 7 p.m. and that's early. That's very early.
5:30 to 6. 5:30 to 6. I can push.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
So when she came home with me, living at my parents' place, and like I told my parents like, Brenda eats early, so let's try to eat at 7 p.m. and they accommodated and
what time did we end up eating at?
6:30 even, which is very not like our family.
Yeah, but like 5:30 I'd be like,
we're still
eating, I'm hungry. And I didn't want to ask his parents, so I'm like, I don't want to, like, if she's cooking, they're cooking, I'm like, I'm not going to bother. I'm just like, hey, I'm hungry.
Oh, it's interesting. So this different scheduling, different
scheduling. That's one thing.
That's one of the big thing I would say. Because, it felt like being roommates at one point instead of husband and wife.
But sometimes we eat together, right? And we'd be like, okay, let's eat together, and usually we watch something. But even the watching is like, what do you want to watch?
Oh my goodness! I'll be like, I want to watch this, true crime stuff. And I was like, can we watch something else? Like, okay, then we go on YouTube, and we're like, okay, let's watch something food related. Okay. Even that was different.
Yeah, because I like Asian food. I like the ones that are like a bit adventurous, like try out like food somewhere else. And then she like watch it like, try guys. I'm like,
have you watched vloggers who are eating? Yeah, I was like,
and then which are eating like basic American food, and I'm like,
literally we're just sitting there. I was like, okay.
You finish eating before you decide what you want to watch while you eat.
Or something like, no, don't start
cinematic like shots, like the Eater YouTube channel. Like I like watching theirs because it's like cinematic, and then they go through like the process of the kitchen and the chef. She doesn't care about any of that.
She's like, this vlog is natural.
And natural vibe. That is so not natural. That's fake.
It's not fake in the way you want it to be. It's funny. But I guess it's the opposite right?
Yeah.
I guess. So now, like, how did you guys? I don't know. When was the first time you guys met? Like, how and where?
We met at my old church. I was already going to New Hope, but I was still visiting. It's an Indonesian church, so I was still visiting there for like, if they have an anniversary or like, I don't know, any events basically. I would still go back there, and then we met on their anniversary, one of their anniversaries. I went there. He went. 2015.
2015.
We met.
And then I was there. I just knew the people there. They invited me, and so happens that someone was going to drive us to and back from the place.
This is when he was on Waterloo.
Was it your first time going to that church?
No, I know the people there. I don't go to the church because they don't have a church in Waterloo, but they come for campus ministry essentially to Waterloo, and I assist the people there to book out rooms and things like that. So that's where we met. And she was going to be introduced to another guy, but
wait, what? She's like, no, cut this out. Someone's gonna say you what?
No, so I was my brother. So I was there with my brother, right? And then he wants to introduce me to one of his friends, and I was like, okay. And then he came in, and then apparently my brother knew him too. So then they start chatting, and I'm just like, me being awkward, just stand behind my brother, and then after he's done talking, I was like, while they were talking, I was like, cute guy, and then I was like, okay, why didn't my brother introduce me? Hello. So then when they were done talking, I was like, I nudged him, and I'm like, let me introduce you, and then he did, and that's it. We just kind of got introduced there.
Yeah, what you asked him like, is that the guy?
No, I didn't say who's that the guy. I just said that guy's cute.
Oh, okay.
And then later he introduced me. I'm like, okay, cool.
I thought you did.
But this one's not cute.
What was your first impression of Brenda?
Brenda was. So I saw her and like, oh, she's cute, and she was, at least in the setting, was very shy. I didn't get to talk to her until the whole church event finished, and then like we wanted going dinner somewhere. I forgot.
No, before that, you and my brother start talking again.
Yeah.
Again, I'm in the background. And then you were talking about how like you were flying to Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
In like basically my brother, he likes planes, so he asked like, oh, when are you going? What date? Which airlines? And then he was like, wait, you're gonna be in the same flight as my sister. That's what he said. And then he was like, then he called me over. It's like, oh, he's gonna be in the same flight as you. So I was like, okay. So we kind of chat a little bit, and then a bunch of people were going to like dinner afterwards, and he just tagged along. So it was kind of like,
I mean, like the person who was going to drive me was going.
Yeah. So you have no choice. You have to.
I had no choice. I tagged along, ate dinner and everything. I didn't really start the conversation, as I remember. She was the one who started the conversation. I forgot what
I could never do that now.
I was like, wow, I could never. You started it
Shows how much he thought I was cute. So I don't know what we talked about. School, probably.
Yeah, we talked about school.
Yeah, we probably.
Because we were both still in school.
We were both in school, and I told her like, oh yeah, because it was my last term, like, and then I'll be going to Japan to work after. So probably I told you about things like that. And so that's how we met. And over obviously she went to U of T, I went to Waterloo, different cities. Didn't get the chance. I didn't really visit Toronto often, so we just chatted. Yeah. School, mostly like about school. Oh, this happened.
Why we kept talking about school and it doesn't end, The conversation kept flowing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, how did you go from that to dating? But it sounds like you just kept talking.
Yeah, we just kept talking. I don't even remember what I talked about. I think like my sense is that she was talking a lot about like her school stuff, and then I just commented on it.
Yeah.
Probably like, oh, you were getting killed by U of T.
Probably. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, so that's the most likely thing that we talked about, I believe, back then. So yeah, and I just commented and stuff like that. And then on the way back to Hong Kong in December.
Oh, we ended up sitting next to each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, like intentionally or?
Intentionally, yeah.
Yeah, because.
Like, that would be a great coincidence.
Yeah, I mean.
So you guys got to talk a lot on the flights.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's
talking after.
one leg of that flight.
Yeah, basically.
And
I mean, it was a 15-hour flight. So.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was, well, she sat beside me because your brother can't come
Yeah. Usually my brother and I fly
together.
home together, but I don't remember why.
I think it was
we got different flights. I really don't remember why.
Oh yeah.
I just think it was just meant to be. But
I was like, oh, that's the sign we're looking for.
Did you know that I was going to be on the same flight as you?
yeah, because my brother mentioned it. Remember?
Oh, but when did you know? I forgot, I guess. But then she actually asked her brother to, hey, can we move my
Yeah.
seats, like where my seat is? So
Yeah.
happens like the slot is open.
Yeah.
So yeah, move over. So sat
Nice.
next to each other.
Yeah.
Had, I guess like plain quality time.
Lots of quality time. It's like 15 hours solid.
Yeah.
That's like if you were dating and we're meeting up like once a week, that's like how many months?
That's true.
And before the flight, I already had like a feeling that I think I like Brenda. But then I know like I'm leaving, so I'm like.
Or leaving to Japan, right?
Yeah, I'm leaving to Japan, so I'm like I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of tried to drop hints to her that I like her. She didn't get it, but.
Wait, what kind of hints?
I guess bad hints. Reflectively.
I don't remember.
Is a hint like yeah, I'd be missing someone.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she got it.
No, she did not get it.
No, I was like, oh, is there someone?
Yeah, is there someone else? That's what she thought. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what she thought. Is there someone else? But oops. Yeah, she didn't get it.
So what made you guys want to date each other?
I can start with that. I can start. For me, actually, the summer before I met Brenda, so it was the summer of 2015. I was like praying to God, like, hey God, I'd really like to have a girlfriend. And I'm like, when will that be? And at that spot, I prayed, and immediately I felt like, it'll be soon. Like it'll be soon, and I'm like, soon? When will that be? How soon is soon? And I'm like, I'm also like, I know, like I already know I'm leaving Canada for Japan, and I'm like, so I guess it'll be somewhere in Japan. I'm like, okay, right? I was like, sure. But then I met Brenda. I didn't think about that moment, that time. Talked to her a bit more. Started having feelings for her, right? And we continued chatting when I was in Japan, and it really, like, for me, like, it became more solidified. Like, yeah, I really like talking to Brenda. I really like, being with her, and I just felt like, if this is soon, I will take it. This is soon. This is soon, right, God? This is soon, right, God? And yeah, I prayed about it, and I just believe that it was just God's way of doing it. I didn't felt no from God, like no to know about Brenda. There are like some, I guess, like the usual like parents cautionary, like, are you sure? Things like that. But I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And I think like from all of the things that, the thing about the airplane and still being so strong in the communication and the, I guess, like the friend relationship even after the long distance. I'm like, hard to say no to that, and I just decided, yeah, I want to be with Brenda, so I asked her out. And I had like, I think Brenda likes me too. I get the
She
vibe.
dropped the hints and you picked it up.
Yeah, I'm like, I think she likes me. I can never be sure. I don't want to be too. I don't want to be cocky or anything. But I'm like 95% sure. I'm feeling the vibes. I'm feeling the vibes. And later on, it turns out that so when I was in Japan, I had a period where I came into Japan March. Dealt with some stuff, but April was really like I had to do a lot of like government stuff, and I couldn't spare a lot of time. Oh yeah, I'm telling the story. Put it into perspective. Right? I didn't have a lot of time to really interact with Brenda, so sometimes she'd message like only like a week later or like 2 weeks later I reply back. So, but on the other side of the world, she apparently some guy was trying to hit up on her.
Oh really? She's like, oh, he's not giving me attention.
Yeah. No, exactly. So some guy was getting close to Brenda.
Oh.
Right. And then she, she was asking her friend. Her friends know about both me and the guy that was the other guy, and like, should I still, entertain talking with Btara, like this long distance. They know me as the Japan guy?
Yeah.
Japan guy?
Yeah.
Japan guy. Okay. Should I continue like entertaining with like this Japan guy? But there's this new guy close and immediately like there, not long distance and everything. But the one thing was that he was not a Christian. And that was like I think like a big part, right? Well, but her friends, at least some of her friends were saying like, like forget about Japan guy. Yeah, forget about Japan guy.
It's long distance, right?
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, understand it. Like understand where they come from. Completely rational, no problem. And her ex-best friend is what? Will they support?
She took him away.
No.
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah.
Like who was she supporting? Like the April guy, right?
Yeah,
now we call him April guy.
Japan guy and April guy. She took April guy?
Yeah.
So April guy, she was supportive of April guy.
Yeah.
Right? She was like, like, I think you should just go with April guy. Right? Lo and behold, she betrayed Brenda. And she was like, I don't know what happened or like exactly, but then she claimed like, oh, I'm dating April guy.
Yeah.
Essentially, something like that. No, test of time. Test of faith. God provides.
God took it away.
God took it away. That's true.
God given? God took away? Yeah, so I didn't know about the story until way later. Way later. I was like, oh, I didn't know. I was like, and I just like, I keep bringing it like, I told you so.
You love sharing the story.
I love sharing the story because it just feels so like it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's why I decided. I thought she was cute, and I thought like we really got along well. I don't know what we talked about, to be honest. I don't remember. I don't. Yeah, just life.
Yeah.
Like I don't even remember. No, but it was fun. It was fun talking with Brenda. And,
I think my answer's a little more shallow.
You're like, he's cute. What is your answer?
So I like since I was young, I always have this checklist of like the perfect guy. But honestly, like I don't think the checklist is difficult, but I cannot meet anyone that fit that checklist. And also like, but of course, like in addition to the checklist, I have to be attracted to them, right? Like if they meet the checklist, but I'm not attracted, doesn't count. It's so hard, like years.
What was in your checklist?
Oh my god, it's so shallow. Okay, like okay, the not shallow is obviously he has to be Christian, has to be tall, and doesn't have to be like 6 feet or anything, like taller than me, and then attractive to me, older than me. Oh, he has to be smart, ideally smarter than me. I don't know, like that provider kind of figure. So I want a smart guy. What was the other things? I think those were the ones that I keep going back to. Okay, I know this is so shallow. Okay, I'm so sorry, but when I say smart, it's in like university, not college. I know so shallow. but it's just how again. This is like I made this list when I was 16 or something, so it's like super shallow.
You kept it, and God was like.
Yeah, but I actually kept it. Like I never changed it. And again, even with the age thing, if they're just 2 days younger than me, I don't want it. I don't know why. It's just a thing that I kept for so long. And yeah, every time there's like maybe I'm interested in a guy and like look at checklist, doesn't meet one. Like it's always one missing. And then when I met him, everything. Again, it's not even that much. I think that was me. Oh, I think I also said I don't want someone who smokes drinks, like kind of like that stuff. Yeah. But that core 5, I don't know why it was so hard. And then yeah, he fits them. So I was like, oh, okay, God, I see one. There's one, finally.
You're like, he checks everything, so let's go.
Yeah, because like every time I pray for like a future partner, I do mention those 5 because I'm like, hey, ask and it will be given. And yeah, so that's why like when I met him, I was like, that's the first one where I'm attracted and it fits also. I'm like, okay. That's why I was like,
okay. Did you guys date other people before each other?
No. So I guess my first.
My first one.
First and last.
Yeah, first and last.
Okay. So you guys started dating. How did you decide that you wanted to get married to each other?
I don't know. For me, again, back to that checklist, I was like, there's no one else out there. It's been hard to find one, so.
Yeah, so I guess like for me, I'm just like, I just thought like, yeah, I asked Brenda out with the thought of eventually she's the one that I'd marry. I think it was like relatively easy. There wasn't like anything within like our relationship that showed like, you know, she was not the one. So there was no, you know, not much thought into thinking she won't be the one. Like, and when I think like who I want to marry, it's mostly like along the lines of the values and things like that. So not much of like material aspects to it. I didn't really think of it as much. Like obviously attraction and everything like that. Attraction, values, those are like probably like the main 2 things. And then yeah, I just decided, well, if it's not Brenda, who will it be? Right? I mean, yeah, I never really entertained the idea of someone else. Of course, like the relationship wasn't like always rosy or anything like that. And there were like fights and problems, but yeah, it was a relatively easy decision. Like I guess like there were still like some factors where it was mostly like parental factors. Like, you know, parents, my mom, because my mom wants me to go back to like or insist time to time here, like for me to go back to Indonesia. But I'm like, but I know like Brenda lives here, and I've talked about it to Brenda, like, hey, are you open to like going back? And it's like she's always a bit dodgy, so I know like where she stands on that, or she will preferably not go back if possible. And I'm like, but then I also think like, do I want to go back to Indonesia? And I'm like, not anytime soon. And I know even though Brenda is like not into the idea of going back, she is not like 100% opposed to the possibility in some way or manner, right? For example, like if I have to take care of my parents now, you know, it's also the benefit that my siblings are in Indonesia, so they're able to take care of my parents, so I'm a bit freed up. But if something comes up, right, so it's something that I still felt like we can talk about it and we can think about it. And even though Brenda doesn't have like someone, like a friend or like that many friends, she has like at least one.
Just one.
That she just one. But then there's like, you know, my sister-in-law, she can probably play with them at the very least, or connect with them, right? So aside from that, that was like probably like the biggest thing to take into consideration, like where will I be in the long term and does it align? Yeah, at the end of the day, in the short term, we're like, yeah, I don't see myself going back. I might, but I don't see it right now. And I really told my parents here and there, yes, I know, but I don't want to go back now for the time being. So yeah, and then I just decided I'd like to marry Brenda. My parents were just like, oh, make sure you do it for the right reasons. Pray about it to God, like she's the one. And again, never really heard no or anything like that. Yeah, in terms of, I guess back then we didn't really know how much of it different, like how different we were in terms of like the day to day, but we felt we were similar in just life aspects.
Like values are same.
Yeah, life aspects, values are same or very similar. Obviously we have like different opinions, but at the end of the day, like why we made those opinions were from like the same basis. So yeah, that's how I decided to marry Brenda.
And here we are. You said there were some like rocky moments. How did you overcome them? You don't have to talk about like what exactly they were, but how do you feel like you both were able to overcome them?
Are you talking about like big arguments or small?
Like, was there any time where you were like, maybe we're not going to actually like be together, or like maybe we're going to break up? And if there was, like, how did you guys like go past that? Or was there none?
I never felt like, oh, I want to end things. But big arguments?
Not like oh, I want to end things. At least prior, like before we get married. But obviously, once we get married, there are like definitely more fights, I would say, just because we're together all the time.
47, yeah.
And a lot of them are like small. There are like some bigger things, but not to the point like it's wrong to have married you. But definitely it's like it's to the point perhaps where we'd say like, oh, we need to change something, in this dynamic. Somehow or another. Like, I'm of the type, like, we need to get it done or like finish during the day. In the day, if we have a fight, we need to get it done like the day. I don't want to sleep and then forget it for the next day or the next week or something like that.
Oh,
and
definitely not. Even like
so we've never had a fight where we did not resolve it like during the day, and that's been like going well for us. Obviously, there are like some like fights where we be like we're passing through each other, kind of like that. But I think what works for me is just like sitting down right beside Brenda and really being close like physically, right? And like okay, like let's talk, like, and making, I feel like when I do that, like I'm trying to make sure like that she knows like, hey, I'm here, I want to work this out with you, I want to listen. I don't know whether she feels like it, but at least I feel.
I really don't. I think because my love language is physical touch. So when we argue, actually, not you mentioned this, reminds me of it. Like when we argue, sometimes we're like kind of sitting apart. Then it kind of the tension is But then when he comes close, I'm like, okay, hold hands or like hugs. I'm like, okay, kind of release the tension a lot more. It's probably because like my love language is physical touch, so it helps with that. And we never go to sleep angry, or we try. We really aim to like don't go to sleep angry.
Was that like advice you got from someone, or how did you decide it?
We did get advice about that. Try not to.
Isn't there a verse?
Yeah, Bible
don't let the sun go down.
Yes, the sun go down. So we do we keep that in mind, but it was also brought up during the premarital counseling when we did it. it was brought up, I was like, oh yeah, no, we try to stick to it. And, okay, the fact that it was brought up there, I was like, okay, this is very important actually. So we really try to stick to that.
Oh, so you were really trying it before you got married?
Yeah. I mean, we don't get into that much arguments before getting married, just because I mean we don't see each other daily, right? Yeah. But
sometimes we have fights like outside.
outside.
Wait,
when?
As in like we have a disagreement and then we'll walk and like become grumpy while holding hands.
Oh yeah.
And
like hold hands grumpy.
No, actually, when I'm grumpy, I'm like, or put my hands in my pocket, and he'll be like, hold hands. And then when I do, okay, it kind of helps. It actually helps fine.
Hold hands.
It seems like he kind of takes the lead in
he
making sure that like you're fine. And
I try to. I mean, sometimes I'm the one that's like grumpy, but I think like there are moments where I'm like upset for sure with Brenda, and I think in those moments she does the same thing towards me. You know, like she's like, oh come on, like don't be too far away, and like let's talk about it actively. She asks like, why are you feeling that way? You know, like what do you want to say and things like that. So she also does try to, you know, make me open up, right? And just like overall that's our strategy, like open up each of ourselves and try to lay it out. Right? This is how I'm feeling, this is why, right? You remember what you said, like I'm not happy with that, right? Yeah, and then we go with that and try to obviously improve and get better. You know, there are like some things that repeat. There are things that repeat, but it takes a while.
I think because you hold it in first, you think about it, like it simmers first. For me, I burst it out.
Yeah, we're
see the differences.
we're different. Like Brenda's quite quick to blurt out something sometimes, and I'm like, wait, that's not true. That's, you know, right? And like she may insist on something, but like, look, like this is what happened, right? And then like she may say, but you made me feel this way. Okay, like I understand. I made you feel that way. Like I didn't mean it, but I'm sorry. And things like that.
But for you, it's like you hold it in, and then next time I see him, he's like, you're not yourself. I was like, okay,
what's going on?
What happened? And then he'll say like, oh, well, you said this. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So it takes more time for him. For me, it's like instant. Yeah. So we kind of learn that.
Yeah, considering those differences, what do you think makes your relationship work?
Like despite those differences, I think some things are they complement each other in a way, but also like for example, if we're both the shouty kind, it's a shouting match, right? Or if we're both the holding in type, it's just gonna burst one day. I guess it's a good thing that it's different.
It can be.
It's like it's not even about like despite the differences. It's like it works because of the differences.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I guess like there are like differences that like it impedes us or like you know it blocks us to move forward. But no, we felt so far it's been like the smaller things. There are like some more, I guess like difficult differences. For example, like I'm always like Kyo says like I'm always on the phone, but not quite true. But not quite true.
You want to make this up now?
Like I try to explain to her, you know, there's always like something going on in my head, or sometimes, for example.
So it's like there's some things that are recurring that you still feel like you need to deal with, but it doesn't like overshadow the relationship that you have with each other.
I think they're small enough that.
I try to, or we try to explain to each other, you know, this is why we do it. For example, like I don't like her shopping habits, but she said,
to expose you.
I know. He always exposed me. Oh my, even like
he
will like expose me.
But yeah, like just for example of that one. But she explained to me, you know, I think like I like shopping because of these reasons. I'm like,
okay.
Oh yeah,
so
I think
feel like you guys like talk a lot about what's going on for you, and you have an understanding of each other.
Yeah. Actually, one thing that we argued a lot in the beginning was money, finance related. I think that's very difficult to navigate, but I think.
How did you guys navigate that?
So I think I shared my perspective and he shared his. So he's a saver. He like save as much as possible. Okay, when I say I'm a spender, it doesn't mean like I use up all my money, but
she likes spending.
I like spending, and I think you should enjoy what you work hard on, right?
But he's like spending.
It's like everything I have is just like in the bag.
but then so when we had the talk, he explained that okay, I'm thinking about the future. I'm saving for a future home. So I was like, okay, that's very valid actually. And then I explained my side too, like, you know, I think we should be able to enjoy what we earn. Like tomorrow's not guaranteed. Like I pulled that card, and also I'm like, you know, at the same time I also try to keep track of my expenses, not spend too much. So yeah, I think we compromised. Like I was like, okay, I get it. We have to think about the future. I think he eventually understood. It brings me joy.
So do you like end up like coming up with like a better spending budget or something like?
No, we don't do it. But I think it's more like, okay, this is one thing that he always says, like, oh, maybe you buy things and the money's not a problem, but it's also the space. You don't have, and I was like, it's a space thing. So now I think about it as like whenever I buy something, space. Not exactly money too, but space is another big one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean like those things, right? Like where do you come off from? Like where do you think that particular way? It's not that when I like on the money part, like when I say like I'm adverse to spending money, it's not that I will never spend money, and it's not like I dislike getting stuff that I enjoy. It's more like I don't initially think spending money is fun. For example,
this is kind of different.
There's like a part of Brenda. There's like a part of Brenda where she actually likes to spend money, or where it's like why, and then if she asks like why, and she's like, I just think it was fun, and like, what do you
like,
think?
It's cute, whatever. It's not like I feel good.
Yeah, things like that, and like.
No.
Okay,
Can't relate.
Can't quite relate that way, but I understand where there are things that she buys like it brings her joy, and so like I'm like, well, I guess like partly I need to think about that. Does it bring me joy when she
has joy?
Yeah, when she has joy, I'm like, maybe
she buys something that brings her joy. Having joy brings you joy.
Happy wife,
yeah, happy wife.
Buying stuff is bringing you joy.
I still nag her because I'm like. That doesn't bring me joy.
Well, the joy should come from seeing her joy.
That's what we do.
Right? But I do hear finances is like one of the tricky things.
Yes, it is.
It was
even during like our premarital counseling, it was brought up. Like we had a whole session on finance. I think it's super touchy. Yeah, for sure.
Were there other things that came up, or like other advice that you got that like ended up being really helpful in the time once you've been married? I'm not even
like
maybe not like maybe from parents or like other couples that they think of.
I forgot who said it, but I think it's probably my dad who said it. Well, it wasn't advice, but he just put it like, Brenda's your wife. You need to take care of your wife, and you need to love your wife. No, obviously, right? To take care of your wife, to love your wife, but it's more like, and also my mom, she tells me, you need be a good provider, be a good head, or like lead the family in a godly way, and yeah, it's just like very common things. Everyone says it, but it is something that. When your own parents say that, you take it a bit more seriously, right? And it's like parents says it, and yeah, I think that's like just subconsciously in my head, right? Like I always tell Brenda, like I'm always trying to deliver, to provide, to give Brenda a comfort essentially, wherever possible. And so yeah, that's kind of like part of the guidepost in the relationship. It does bring, you know, some burden sometimes. I tell Brenda, like, sometimes I feel burdened because I think I have to do this, I have to do that. Things obviously, like sometimes she thinks, well, she doesn't want to think about it. It's not like in her inclination to do it. And I tell her sometimes these things. She nods her head and she tries to understand. Yeah, those are, I guess, timeless, more like timeless advice to follow her, and really focus on trying to love Brenda as much as possible. Sometimes she says like, I don't feel it, but again,
I was gonna say, like, I think that a lot of times people give all this advice, but then living it out is different. Yeah.
Because I think it's mostly like sometimes there are moments where you need a different kind of love. For example, like I'll work a long day. It's not that I don't love Brenda necessarily. I love her too, and that's why I'm maybe working a lot in order to do certain things, or reach certain things. But she may not see it, or the partner may not see it as a time like, you know, why don't you spend time with me, and things like that. Sometimes maybe they just want to spend time, but obviously you can't just spend time all the time with your partner. Your partner each, you know, have their own activities, or like they want to do their own things, watch vlogs or whatnot, things that you do not share. Right? Like, and so it's really an act of balance and also an act of understanding of like what does your partner need at the time.
Actually, you said something, I don't know if you have some thought to it, but I know I've heard people talk about that too, where you said like lead in a godly way. Has that shown up in your marriage so far? What does that look like? Okay, then I think he wanted to ask it, does he lead?
I don't know, do you think
that he's, that's a good question.
Do I think you live in a godly way?
Yeah.
I mean, he always offered to pray at night.
Not always, but
okay, but you're always the one who leads it, because I'm always like, I'm running. I would like to sleep. I would like to sleep, but then he'll be like, oh, let's pray. I'm like, okay. And also like, okay, I'm really bad at praying before I eat. But then he would, when we eat together, he'd be like, pray first. I'm like, yes, right.
So it sounds like he's the reminder.
Yeah.
Making sure that.
Yeah. Or things like,
I think those I appreciate.
Like, or things like I'd be like, oh, do you want to do this thing at church or join this church activity and things like that. I always try to push Brenda a bit for certain things, you know, knowing Brenda might have some discomfort for certain things, but I feel like in certain areas like I try to push because I think it's really important. And also just in the day-to-day, you know, I'd be just trying to remind like, hey, you know, that's not something that for each of us like God will like. Or for example, when like either one of us is angry at some you know, some matter, not related to us, but some matter, right? I might flare up or she might flare up. And we just like try to remind each other, you know, don't be so angry or don't be so annoyed, or like provide some perspective. Maybe this happened, no, you don't know, or we don't know, and things like that. Those kind of things I try to instill between us. You know, it's easier to say than to do it. Of course, it may sometimes take some time for each of us to see the point, but I think it's very important, right? And if I feel, or if she feels like it's not like resolved yet, you know, we try to say like, let's pray about it, right? Like together. So yeah, really really try to do that. And also when we, I guess, like for like life decisions or like life outlook, right? Things like that. Like we try to incorporate what would God say, or like what does God want? For example, like a big thing, like having children, for example. Right? It's like a big thing personally, but also big thing for the faith. Like, how do we want to have children, or like, do we want to have children? When do we want to have children? What if the children just pops up?
Just pops up.
Yeah, just pops up, right? Like,
What
what will happen? Right? Those kind of things. You know. So sometimes we just talk about like life stuff or like next stage stuff. And also try to incorporate the faith, at least what we believe in and what we know in so far.
It sounds like you're intentional about like having God's perspective or looking at your decisions and your situations from God's perspective.
We try to.
We try to.
Yeah, we try to.
For me, it's like not related to marriage, but like now when I just go through day-to-day life or something happens, like something like maybe something not great happens, like okay, that was from you, God. Okay, I'll take it as a sign or something. I got to the point in my life where I'm like, something good happens, okay, thank you, God. Something bad, okay, that wasn't from you, God, that's fine.
So being conscious of like God's presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be marriage or not, but
it just kind of spills into, because it's like the marriage is also part of your life too.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also like planning, like for like things to plan and things like that.
I was gonna ask that, like, is there something that you're hoping for in the future? Like
Buy home.
Like that, yeah, buying a home.
He's always like, oh, your criteria you have so many criteria. I'm like, God will provide.
I'm like, okay.
Through Btara.
I'm like, through Btara. And yeah, sometimes she will say, yeah, through you, right? And I'm like,
but God does provide.
God does provide.
He's like, it's gonna be so hard. I was like, God will provide. If it's not for me, we won't get it.
Yeah.
So
I think he wanted to get what was that? A promotion from his work, and he didn't get it, right? And he was really bummed about it. And I was like, it's just not God's time, because he was like, oh, it's gonna help so much to our like housing fund. And I was like, maybe it's just not God's time. Like it's fine. It's not. That means we're not ready for it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hope. I think that's like the home part. That's like the big.
Yeah.
It's like the big thing for our next life, because we think like, it will really be like most ideal to have a permanent home before we then think about having children, if we want to have like children. Right? And sometimes it can be hard to think like, oh, I think plan is like this, it'll be like this, but and that's why I feel like it's the most difficult to incorporate God. It's easier to incorporate God, I feel like, in the day-to-day, or like reflecting back, God perhaps was working, or in this moment, like, oh, why am I so angry? I shouldn't be. God doesn't want me to be so angry towards this matter, and God will show the way. But when it comes to future things, it's hard to see, and it's hard to imagine what it would be like. And so sometimes we may, or I know, like I do, where we take it in our own charge, or we want to do it in certain ways, and it might not be the way eventually. But who knows? Like, I'm in the family, I'm like the planner of like things. So Brenda is more the doer, at least on the big things. Like she plans on like
the small things.
She plans on like, how will we get from A to B in terms of like
day-to-day life.
Day-to-day life. I'm like,
big picture, you're the planner.
Yeah, big picture, I'm the planner. Right. So, and she'd be, and which is funny, right? Like she'd be the one that's saying like, God will provide like for the long term. And when when getting like to destination, like we're gonna be late.
But
where's the bus? We're gonna be late. God won't let it come.
So she's like super chill sometimes, and some other times she's like, we need to leave.
So it's super funny, right? I think like planning is like one of those things like universally it's hard. It's just like what time frame and how your attitude towards it, and that's how it crops up in our life. Like how we can both remember God and also forget about God at certain times.
Let's say it's like 15 years from now, and you're looking back on your
15.
15.
Oh, 50.
And you're looking back on your like marriage. What do you hope characterizes it?
I hope we were happy, like as happy as can be.
I guess like more than happy, I would say I hope we had both a fulfilling life, both individually and like together.
What is fulfilling?
Like fulfilling as in we felt like we did what we wanted to do, but also we did what was planned for us by God to do. We were like involved in, I would say, like in other people's lives in good ways. Obviously, we don't want to be involved.
Obviously,
I don't want to say like we got involved with that guy where we got hit, where we hit their car and everything. Like not that kind of involvement. Positive impact, right? Like we want to, or at least I think like having positive impact towards other people, but. In the marriage itself, 50 years, that's what I would say, like, I hope I had positive impact on Brenda. Like, materially, that's one thing. But also, her, her own growth and her own life, right? I hope I will have, like, a positive impact. And I'm sure, and I hope that Brenda will have, like, positive impact, right? In the 50 years, we hope to have grown to be better people and better together, I would say.
Look at him with his words.
I know!
I'm so bad.
Well, I was gonna come back to you and be like, what does happy mean? But that was such a
I know! I can't be.
This is your defenses.
Defenses. Sometimes, I like Brenda is the more, I would say, like, I don't know if it's the right phrase, it's like plain Jane. As in like, simple.
Yeah, simple.
And like, this is this. And like, maybe not just
it's
this.
like the root is
maybe not just this, right? I think, I sometimes I do so. And like, she'd be like, you understand?
You just go on your thoughts.
That happens a lot.
She does happen.
Yeah, it happens a lot. And like, I talk, and like, you lost me. Okay.
You lost me 3 minutes ago.
But sometimes Brenda will lose me too when she talks about, this gossip or like this. I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to know. Or I don't want to think about those kind of things. So,
You're so different.
Yeah, we are very different.
How would you describe your relationship in one word?
Different.
How would you describe it? Are you thinking about it? Are you gonna go with different?
Let me think of something nice.
Different's also nice. I feel like it's been complimentary. That's kind of the
Complimentary.
Oh, okay. Give you the word.
Sorry, I'm stealing it. No, compliment. Because we always say like, why are we so different? We compliment each other. Like I think that's the thing that we actually do say often. Like something happens and we're like, why are we so different? We compliment each other. Like we actually do say that a lot.
One word from me. I think harmonious will be the word.
It's very similar to complimentary.
It is something complimentary.
Yeah, harmonious. We, like there's some clangs. Like in the
different but
Yeah,
harmonious.
but just like I would say, like just like a music show. There's like each of us like has a different beat and has a different way of approaching things to create. But so far, I would say it's been harmonious.
So like create music together. Different sounds, but like creating music.
Literally, our last live group, he just told everybody that we have no music taste in us, and now he says this. I'm like, where? Where's that from?
Your music taste is not individual; it's when you come together.
We come together.
You come together, you create music. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
It's awesome. Well, that's the last question. Thank you.
So that was Brenda and Btara's story. I hope you were blessed by it. I know I was. Having the conversation and reflecting on it afterwards, I realized that one thing that especially struck me about their relationship was the sense of their differences being complementary. Oftentimes when I hear people sort of struggle with their relationships, it is because there is a difference between themselves and their partners that may sometimes suggest to them to be signs of incompatibility. But in this case, in Brenda and Btara's case, they take those differences to be reasons why they work and not reasons why they wouldn't work. And so I think I was pretty challenged by that in how I think about differences in relationships. And I encourage you, if you are in a relationship with someone who might be very different from you, to think about how those differences may not necessarily be indicators of incompatibility, but perhaps opportunities to create harmony, and the reasons why you maybe are meant to be with that person. Because unless there's some level of friction, how else will iron sharpen iron? And if we think about the purpose of marriage as something that enables us to be holy and bring us closer to God, those differences might be the very things that enable us to grow and to build each other up in that relationship, looking to God. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
So that's what I like about our relationship too, and our marriage, is that we're two people who always strive to love each other better. And I think that's something that has carried us through from the start of our relationship to now. Is even during our relationship, we would like always text each other or say, "How can I serve you today?" And it was just a new way of asking, "Hey, like, first thing in the morning, what are your needs today? How can I be there for you? How can I love you today?"